'Tis the season for an annual recap. This video is going to be my 2021 favorites and fails. I am so excited to share these with you, and when I was going through all of my makeup to kind of gather up my favorite products from the year and the things that just didn't go so well for me, I had huge piles of stuff and I decided I needed to narrow it down. So today I'm sharing my top 10 favorites with you of the whole year and my bottom 5 fails of the whole year. We are going to do the 5 fails first here. Get them out of the way, get the negativity out of the way, and then move on to my 10 favorite things from the year. I only actually still physically have 2 of these 5 items, so I don't have anything to show you for these first 3, but I'll pop pictures on the screen. So first up is the Flower Beauty Get Real Serum Foundation. This has really good reviews from some people on the internet that I really trust. I bought it on the recommendation of a few different people, and I had really high hopes. So I bought it this summer. I tried it out really thoroughly, and it just never worked out for me. My biggest issue with this one was that it was not a thin enough formula for me to be able to spread it evenly across my face. It always got patchy and kind of clung to dry parts of my skin, and it made it almost impossible for me to spread it out. I couldn't spread it out with my fingers, with a brush, or with a sponge. It just always kind of clung weird, and then it would pick itself back up. So if I ever accidentally ran my brush over the same spot on my face twice, it completely removed all of what I had already put down. It was just so finicky, I gave up on it. I actually returned this, and I partly returned it because I really didn't like it, but I also partially returned it because when Ulta mailed it to me, it had leaked in the bag and I had lost about a quarter of the product. So I didn't feel I was getting my money's worth in the first place. And then on top of that, it just did not work for my skin at all. Okay, fail number 2 for me was the Derma E Mineral Sunscreen. It was an SPF of 30, I believe. I'll pop a picture on the screen if that's right or wrong. And it just was the worst sunscreen of all time. First of all, I understand that mineral sunscreens oftentimes leave a white cast, but the white cast on this sunscreen was beyond anything I've ever experienced before. And the main issue with it was that you could not keep rubbing it in to try to get rid of some of that white cast, kind of work it into your skin, let it sink in, because if you rubbed on it, even the slightest bit beyond spreading it across your skin, it pilled horribly. It pilled on top of every type of skincare I've ever used. It pilled on top of my bare skin. It just didn't work. So that sunscreen for me was bad all around. It was such a thick consistency, and it really had an insanely strong sunscreen smell. Again, I know those things sometimes just come along with a mineral sunscreen, but this one, the fact that you can't actually even rub it in without it pilling, made it a huge no for me. I've genuinely never used a sunscreen worse than that one in my life. Number 3, this one makes me sad still to this day. This is the Inkey List Peptide Moisturizer. This was a bummer for me because a lot of the reviews on Sephora say that this is a holy grail moisturizer for dry skin people. And I have dry skin and I live in a dry climate. So I was very hopeful that this would be the moisturizer that I needed, and it just didn't end up being that product for me. This moisturizer felt okay when I put it on, right when I put it on, it felt totally fine. It was just within, an hour of applying it when I started to notice things I don't like. So my skin would still feel extremely dry, extremely dry, and I would be oily. I have not had problems with oily skin for years, and this moisturizer, I think rather than soaking in and really deeply moisturizing my skin, it was just creating like an oily film on top of my skin. So I felt dry and I looked oily, and it was just like the worst of the worst for me. I'm sure this works great for a lot of people because it has incredible reviews on Sephora. But I would just say that if you are someone with like truly dry skin, I would steer clear of this. Okay, and then number 4, I actually do have with me. 4 and 5 I have still. So this is the e.l.f. Seriously Satin Lipstick in the shade Pepper. It's a really, really bright red, and I was so excited for this lipstick because if you've been on my channel for a while, if you've been watching me for a while, you know that I love this formula in the shade Cider. It's a really, really beautiful kind of like orange toned brown. It's gorgeous. It's one of my favorite fall lipstick shades and formulas. It's such a gorgeous formula. It's just like a perfect, it's actually pretty matte. It's like a soft matte. They're called Seriously Satin, but they are kind of leaning towards the more matte end of a lipstick, a bullet lipstick. So I adore that shade Cider, and I was so excited to pick up this red. It was actually half off at Ulta, so it ended up being $1.50, and I was so excited to have just a really, really classic red in a formula I loved. Well, it got here, and this one is not the same formula. It's not the same. This one is like really, really sticky on my lips. Like when I do the thing of like doing that, it sticks together almost like a lip gloss feeling, but like gummier. I don't know how to explain it. And I don't know if it's like this particular one. Like, I don't know if it's the exact bullet I got or if that's why it was on sale and it was like close to expiring or something, but they feel completely different. And I have like tested it. I have literally put the pepper shade on like one half of my lips and the cider on the other and tried to see if the cider actually was that sticky, and I had just never noticed, but it's not. They are like completely different formulas. And also this red one feathers outside my lip line. Even when I use a lip liner with it, it just kind of like bleeds beyond my lip line, and the cider one never does that. So I'm not sure what's up, if it's just my particular one of this. If you have this lipstick, I'd love to know. If you have the shade Pepper in the Seriously Satin lipstick, let me know in the comments below if you had a good or a bad experience with it. And then number 5, another lip product here. This is an Ofra lip gloss. This is the shade Millie. It came with the Ofra and Samantha March collab bundle. There were actually 2 other kind of sparkly lip glosses like this in the set as well. I gave those away in a giveaway a while back, and I decided to keep Millie for myself. At the time when I first used this, the first time I ever used it, I actually kind of liked it. It basically is, it's a lip gloss, but it has like actual glitter in there, if you can see that. And it was really beautiful on my lips. It was kind of iridescent looking, and it was nice. It was really nice. But then I wore it for the day, and then I kept wearing it the next few weeks and kind of on and off, just kind of testing it out. And I realized that I couldn't stand the feeling of those glitters on my lips. They were like gritty, and sometimes like I would lick my lips and then they would like get in my mouth, and it felt like literal sand in my mouth. And I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't handle the texture of it. I don't like that gritty feeling of the glitter in the lip gloss. Okay, over to my 10 favorites of the year then. And I'm just now looking at the time. I've already been filming for a long time, and I've only gotten through 5 fails. So I'm gonna try to go through the favorites quickly. I have used all of these products multiple times on my channel, so if you want to see them in action or see more about them, you can always go to my channel, and then on my channel there's a little search bar. So not like the main YouTube search bar, but on my channel there's a search bar, and you can type in the product name and it should come up. So that being said, I'm gonna try to keep things short and sweet. I'm starting here with face products, and the first thing of the year that blew me away was the Smashbox Cali contour palette. It's just a pretty standard face palette. It has a contour, a face powder, 2 different highlighters, a bronzer, and a blush. Looks pretty standard, looks pretty boring, but oh my gosh, are these formulas incredible. I love every powder in here except for the face powder is just kind of not my cup of tea. It's a little too drying for my very dry skin, but it still works. It still works as a highlighting powder if you're into that sort of thing. The rest of them are all exactly perfect for me, and I adore this palette. I took it traveling this summer on my honeymoon, and it was perfect. It's everything I wanted. It has beautiful shades for eyeshadow as well. These two highlighters are gorgeous shimmers on the lid. It just gives you kind of like that back from the beach vacation kind of vibe, and I love it. It's also extremely sturdy packaging. There's a really nice huge mirror up top, and it just feels really luxe, really expensive. And for this many powders, I believe it's $40, which is no small investment, but you get really, really good quality products in good quality packaging. And buying all of these products individually, even at like drugstore pricing, you're almost gonna hit $40. So honestly, I think it's a steal. Number 2, oh, and I should have said, these aren't necessarily ranked like 1 through 10. I'm just going in order of like, I'm grouping face palettes together, eyeshadow palettes together, etc. Number 2 is also a face product, and that is Balm Desert from theBalm. Now this is it says bronzer slash blush, and I would say that's fairly true, although on my skin tone, it comes off mostly as a bronzer. This bronzer for me is perfection. It has a little bit more of a red undertone when compared to a lot of my other bronzers that have kind of more of like an orangey or yellow based undertone. This one has more of like a rosy color beneath it, and it really, really looks so natural on my skin. This is the bronzer I have been reaching for when I want to use a powder, not a cream, but I want things to look like my natural skin. It looks exactly like I have actually gotten a tan. Because I have neutral leaning cool undertones, this looks more real on me than an orange toned bronzer does. And it's just incredible. It's like the best find ever for me because it just does something that nothing else in my collection does, and that is match my undertones perfectly. Now, number 3 here is a crossover between face and eye palettes. So perfect spot for it to go before I transition into my eyeshadow palettes. This is the Life's a Draft palette from Samantha March and Ofra. So I know I just said the lip gloss was not my cup of tea, but this palette blew me away. These face powders are incredible. I was shocked to find that this bronzer and even this blush were not too deep for my skin tone, but they're not. I have to go in with a really light hand. I have to be realistic about how much I'm putting on my face because they are very, very pigmented, and they are a little deeper than my typical cheek colors that I prefer are, but they work perfectly on my skin tone, and they are extremely flattering shades. This blush in particular is really something special. I adore it. It is just a really good combo between like a mauve and a peach. I don't even know how else to describe that, but it has a little bit of glow in there. Now, I will say, when it comes to the eyeshadow portion, I love the mattes. I adore the mattes. The shimmers are a little bit more of like a satin than a full metallic, and that is some people's cup of tea. Absolutely, if you like that formula, I 100% recommend Ofra's metallic formula for you, because they are just a little bit more subdued than a full foiled metallic. I don't mind it. I do like it, and I do think it fits with this theme. Like, I think that those more subdued shimmers go with the whole like vibe of this palette being kind of like those soft muted purples. So I like it in this context. I just want people to be aware that if you're looking for like full impact shimmer, you're probably not going to get it in this palette. Overall, this was one of the best things that I bought this year because it is so multi-use, multi-purpose, and it really is tones and shades that flatter my skin tone super well. All right, over into full-on eyeshadow palettes now. Number 4 on my list is the Charlotte Tilbury Smoky Eyes Are Forever Instant Eye Palette. This is just, it's never going to get old to me. That's how I will put this. This palette has enough variety that I'm excited by it every time I open it up. It has enough kind of cohesion that I never feel lost or confused, or I'm never unsure what to pair together. I open it up and I always feel simultaneously inspired and relieved that I'm gonna have a palette that's easy to put a look together with. So I just love this. I love the balance of tones. I love the balance of like warm and cool in here. And I love the fact that it has a matte black, a matte brown, and a matte cream. It just makes it really, really usable for me. Number 5 is the Pat McGrath Voyeuristic Vixen Quad. It's from the Venus in Fleurs collection. Ooh, couldn't get it open. First of all, the packaging is just an experience in and of itself. Second, this is one of the most cohesive, well thought out quads I've ever purchased. So this matte here is extremely unique. It looks really dark in the pan, and you can get it to be this really beautiful, deep, dark brown. But if you start to sheer it out, it actually looks kind of pinky toned, and it looks really nice and light. So I will put a picture on the screen here just to show you what I'm talking about. This is an all matte eye look using just this and then a white matte for my inner corner, but just this all over my lids. And you can see that it's deep in the outer corner, and then in towards the center of my lid, it fades into a really beautiful pink color. So the matte they put in here is extremely versatile. They have a good highlighting inner corner shade, and then they have 2 outstanding metallics. Outstanding. So this quad to me is not only beautiful in terms of color story and formula, but it's also extremely functional. I would travel with just this palette and I would feel happy with what I have to choose from for probably weeks before I'm tired of kind of this combination of 4 shades, honestly. And that's not the case with all quads that I've tried. All right, number 6, on the more affordable end of the eyeshadow palette scale, I have the ColourPop Lust for Dusk palette. This is such a good color story. I am not gonna go into too much detail on why I think this is like an amazing starter palette, but I think that if you own no other eyeshadow and you pick this up, you would have, oh my gosh, you could make so many looks with this before you kind of ran out and had to start repeating things. I think this is a perfect palette for people who love neutrals but want to branch out just a bit. It gives you smoky cool tones, it gives you mauves, it gives you your neutrals, it gives you warm terracottas for the summer. There are a couple duochrome shades in here. There are these foiled texture shadows that are honestly equivalent to a lot of my high-end formulas. This palette is just incredible. I did 2 looks with this palette, so if you want to see more info, you want to see swatches, you want to see eye looks, go check that video out because this one is a winner. And then last up in the eyeshadow category, I have some single shadows, and these are from JD Glow. So I've been ranting and raving about these in my past like 5 videos, including the one where I made the look that's on my face today. So it's the blue shadow here is this one, good God. So I will not go into too much detail. Again, I have a really thorough review of all of these with good swatches, eye swatches, and a look. So I'm just not gonna get into it, but I will say, quick recap. These formulas are incredible. I have this shade here called Pressed, which is a metallic. It's beautiful. But then I have these other 3 shades. This is Unexpected, Good God, and 365. These are their Galaxy formula, and they are truly what I think is so, so special. These shades are just outstanding. They are an incredible formula. They are just textured and flaky and beautiful, and I would not trade them for anything. I would not trade them for anything. You could take any of those other palettes away from me and I would find ways to do similar eye looks with other things I own. I would survive. If you took these away, I could not make the same eye looks that I make with these shadows. They are a completely different texture, a completely different formula. They're entirely unique in my collection. Moving on to number 8 in my favorites this year. This is the single lip product that I'm going to talk about in my favorites. And I love lip products. I really, really, really love lipstick. However, these Merit Beauty tinted lip oils stole the show for me this year. I got this first one, the shade Marrakech. I got this in the summertime. And then I got the shade Taupe, I think in late August, early September, late September, sometime around there. And I have essentially not stopped wearing either one of these all the time. Anytime I'm not filming, and even probably like 50% of the time when I am filming, one of these two is on my lip. And honestly, usually taupe. More often than not, it's taupe. So these have just really, really blown me away. And part of the reason I love these so much is because they're really, really moisturizing, really nourishing. They feel so good on my lips. They are easy to just reapply when I'm out and about, and they just give my lips a little hint of color without being overpowering. So they've been just perfect. I mean, honestly, these are like my favorite two lip products in my entire collection now. There is no contest in what I wear most. This is it. I wear these and that's pretty much all. And I think that that's indicative of the fact that these are the only lip products that made it onto my list this year. It's really just these. Number 9 goes to my Prados Beauty brushes. These are outstanding brushes. I think I technically bought these in 2020, but I kind of didn't use them. I looked at them, they were so soft. I touched them, I looked at them, and I like didn't want to use them because they were so incredibly soft and like perfect looking that I just didn't use them for a really, really, really long time. And then I think it was honestly 2021 or very late 2020 when I finally just started using them. And they are the best brushes that I own. They're also some of the most affordable brushes I own because I bought them in a big set. This is just a few of them. I think I got a set of 12 if I remember right. And they were really affordable. I got them for $30 for the set. And so they come out to less than even like drugstore pricing on brushes. I think they're equivalent to like e.l.f. cosmetics, but the quality is way higher, way, way higher. There is no question. And these are just the best brushes that I own, the best brushes I think I've ever owned. They are definitely the closest to natural bristle performing brushes that I've ever had in a synthetic brush. So I would highly recommend checking them out. I will just say this big powder brush, 10 out of 10, and this eyeshadow brush, 10 out of 10. Love those two the most of everything in the set, but everything is high quality, everything is beautifully made. And then the number 10 spot here is gonna go to a skincare product that dramatically changed my life this year. This is the Cocokind Glow Essence with Sea Caviar. Now, technically, this is actually the bottle from that product with water in it that I now use to spray my brushes. So it's not a perfectly clear liquid like this. It kind of has like a yellowish color when you actually have the product in the bottle. I was just too lazy to go upstairs and get my full one. But I have gone through, 3 of these now in 1 year, but only 3. So, and actually my third bottle is only about half gone. So I only buy these every couple of months, so they last a really long time. And it's just a facial spray. It's an essence that you put on before you start putting on like serums or oils or moisturizers. This was a huge game changer to me because I never knew that a huge reason that I was having dry skin issues is because my skin wasn't hydrated, it was only moisturized. And I learned that those are 2 different things. Who knew? I still do not 100% understand how they're different, so please do not ask me. But I think that products like this, an essence that you put on immediately after your face wash or your toner even, when you put this on, it sinks in immediately and starts to hydrate your skin. Then you put other things on top of this that moisturize and also some things that hydrate, but the moisturizers are more like a barrier, whereas the hydrator is more so intended to like sink in, soak in, and really add hydration back to your skin. So starting to use this alone, just this plus the moisturizer I was already using, I felt an unbelievable difference in how dry my skin was day to day. This changed me. It changed me. So this is just a huge win to me. It has kind of a weirdish smell that I used to not like that much. Like when I first started using it, I was kind of like off-put by it, but since using it for a long time now, it's actually like a comforting scent to me. It's crazy how your body and your mind kind of adapt to those sorts of things. So just a warning, it does smell a bit funky, but if you stick with it, you'll get used to it. And if you have dry skin or you live in a dry climate, I would 100% recommend just trying this out. It's not that expensive. And like I said, it lasts me like 5 months per bottle. So it's, I think, $18. Well worth the money in my opinion. So that is it. Those are my faves and fails from the year of 2021. It was quite the roller coaster with some of the skincare and makeup I tried this year, but all in all, I'm really happy with the purchases I made over the course of the year. I feel like I was extremely intentional about what I brought into my makeup collection. I no longer have kind of redundant makeup. Everything kind of has its own purpose, has its own need in my collection, or I guess I should say a want, but they all kind of fill gaps, fill holes in my collection. And I have such a wide variety of makeup now that I really can do kind of whatever I want. And that's really exciting to me as someone who uses makeup as kind of a creative outlet and a stress relief outlet. It's really exciting to me to have a collection of things that I love and that work well and that kind of give me that creative freedom. So I love where my collection is at right now, and these are just the things that happen to kind of rise to the top or fall to the bottom throughout the year. Now, all of that being said, and also acknowledging that this video is getting a bit long, I do want to just touch on one other thing before I go for the year. I have made a really hard decision to stop filming YouTube videos for a bit, or more accurately, for the foreseeable future. I have loved my time here on YouTube. It has been so incredible to connect with all of you. It has been so incredible to have this community, to have this creative outlet, to have this space to express myself. I cannot thank you enough for being here. That being said, I have some other things going on in my life that are taking more time than I anticipated and that I really want to dedicate my time and energy to. YouTube has always been a hobby for me. I'm not making money here. I am spending money actually pretty regularly to purchase makeup, and I am therefore not able to sustain it in the same way that I would maybe be able to if I were also making money from this as another stream of income. However, I do have a full-time job that I'm dedicating, of course, my 40+ hours to each week. I have a family that I really love and that I don't get to spend enough time with because I'm spending a lot of my time on things like YouTube. And third, I have made the decision to start my own business and pursue entrepreneurship going into the future. And that is going to take a lot of my time and energy, but it's something that means a lot to me. It means so much to me. And although I love YouTube, although I love makeup, although I love this community, I also need to give myself the space and time to pursue other things that I'm interested in. And unfortunately, I just am not able to sustain even a weekly video here on YouTube. I am extremely hopeful that as I get my business off the ground and as things start to run a little bit more automatically on that side of things, and I'm not in this like initial build phase of my company, I am hoping that I will be able to get back to this. I really think it's realistic. I think that it's realistic in a relatively short timeline, but I don't want to make any false promises to you all about when or if I'll be back. For now, I'm going to leave my channel here. There are, of course, all of my existing videos for you as resources. I am also going to continue to post on my Instagram, my makeup-related Instagram. So check my description box. I will have my Instagram handle down there if you would like to follow me on Instagram. I know not all of you have that, and I am sorry that you're not able to kind of hop over there and follow along with me there. But I, again, just want to express my thanks. I have so much gratitude for this group of people here. It has been nothing but a positive experience, and I really do hope to be back at it relatively soon. But I, like I said, don't want to promise you any sort of timeline and then not be able to deliver on that. I hope you can understand. I hope you stay subscribed. I hope you stick around to see what happens. I will probably post occasional updates on my community tab here, so keep an eye there. And I will also post some information on my Instagram about my business periodically. So if you are wanting to get involved with that as I get it going, that'd be great as well. So all of that being said, I want to say a huge, huge, huge thank you to you for an incredible 2021 year. I truly cannot thank you enough, and I will see you soon.